You have thought about it. Maybe not today, maybe not this week, but at some point, probably while sitting at your desk doing work that makes someone else rich, you thought about it. What if I started something? What if I took what I know, what I am good at, what I actually care about, and turned it into a business? And then you did what most people do. You opened YouTube, you searched how to start a business, and you got hit with a wall of people telling you to find your passion, build a personal brand, and buy their course. None of them told you how business actually works. So let me, 20 minutes or less, the whole thing. Let us go. Why most businesses fail and why yours does not have to. Let us start with the number everyone gets wrong. You have probably heard that 90% of businesses fail. That is not true. That stat applies to venture-backed tech startups, the kind that raise millions trying to become the next Uber. The real number? According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 20% of businesses fail in the first year, roughly half fail within 5 years, and 65% fail within 10 years. That means about 1 in 5 businesses do not survive year 1. That sounds scary, but flip it around. 80% survive the first year. Half are still running after 5 years. More than a third make it past 10. The odds are not as bad as they told you. But here's the part that matters more than the numbers. When researchers studied why businesses actually fail, the number one reason was not competition. It was not bad luck. It was not the economy. 42% of businesses that fail do so because there was no market need for what they were selling. Let me say that again. The most common reason a business dies is that nobody wanted what it was offering. Not that the product was bad. Not that the owner was lazy. Nobody wanted it. Which means the single most important thing you can do before starting a business is make sure someone is willing to pay for what you are planning to sell. Not your friends saying great idea. Not your family saying go for it. An actual stranger handing you actual money. That is validation. Everything else is guessing. The 2 types of business and which one you should start. There are 2 types of business, and the difference between them determines whether you need 10 pounds or 10,000 to get started. Product businesses. You make something and sell it. A physical product, an app, a tool. This requires inventory, manufacturing, shipping, returns. The upfront cost is high, the risk is high, and you are competing with companies who have been doing it for decades. Service businesses. You do something and get paid for it. You use a skill you already have and sell it to people who need it. Web design, copywriting, video editing, tutoring, consulting, bookkeeping. The startup cost? A laptop and an internet connection. Here is why service businesses are almost always the smarter first business. You already have the skills. Think about what you do at your job right now. Think about what people ask you for help with. That thing you do that feels easy to you but hard for other people, that is a service someone will pay for. Your first client could pay you this month. Try doing that with a product business, and the ceiling is higher than you think. Freelance web developers charge 50 to 150 pounds per hour. Social media managers charge 500 to 2,000 a month per client. Copywriters charge hundreds for a single landing page. These are not hypothetical numbers. These are real rates being paid right now. But most people who start service businesses make one critical mistake. They try to serve everyone. The niche is the business. I want you to pause right now and think about this. If you need a lawyer, do you want the one who handles everything? Divorces, criminal cases, property disputes, immigration, corporate law, or do you want the one who specializes in exactly your problem? You want the specialist every time, and you will pay more for them. That is the power of a niche. When you narrow down who you serve and what you do, 3 things happen. 1, you become easier to find. Someone searching for a web designer will find 10,000 results. Someone searching for a web designer for dental practices will find 10. Be one of the 10. 2, you become easier to trust. A portfolio full of dental websites tells a dentist you understand their industry. A portfolio full of random projects tells them nothing. 3, you can charge more. A generalist competes on price because they look the same as everyone else. A specialist competes on expertise, and expertise commands a premium. Here is how to find your niche. Take the skill you already have. Now ask yourself, who has a specific problem that this skill solves? Not everyone. Someone specific. Do you know how to edit video? Do not be a video editor. Be the video editor for real estate agents who need property walkthroughs, or for fitness coaches who need content for Instagram, or for small restaurants who need 30-second ads. Do you know how to build websites? Do not be a web developer. Be the web developer for tradesmen who need a professional site to get more leads, or for therapists who need a booking system, or for e-commerce brands that need their Shopify store optimized. The skill is the same. The positioning is what makes you valuable. Let me make this even more concrete. 2 freelance web designers apply for the same job. One says, I build websites for anyone who needs one. The other says, I build websites specifically for physiotherapy clinics. I have built 12 of them. I know that your patients want to book online, that you need a treatment page for each service, and that most of your traffic comes from Google Maps. Who gets the job? The second one. Every single time. They are not a better developer. They just position themselves as the obvious choice for that specific client. And here is the thing nobody tells you about niches. You are not limiting yourself. You are making yourself findable. You can always expand later once you have clients, income, and credibility, but you cannot expand from zero. Start narrow, grow wide. The saturation myth. Right now you are probably thinking, but that market is saturated. Everyone does web design. Everyone does social media management. Everyone does video editing. Let me reframe that for you. The UK fitness industry alone is worth over £5 billion. If your personal training business captures 0.001% of that market, that is £50,000 a year. The global digital marketing industry is worth over $600 billion. If your freelance social media agency captures the tiniest fraction of that, you are earning more than most full-time salaries. Saturation is a myth that stops people from starting. Here is the reality. There are roughly 5.5 million small businesses in the UK. Most of them need a website. Most of them need help with social media. Most of them need someone to handle their books. Most of them are not being served by the big agencies because big agencies charge big agency prices. You do not need to compete with everyone. You need 5 clients, then 10, then 20. And in a market worth billions, 20 clients is invisible. There is room for you. There has always been room for you. The people who say the market is saturated are the ones who tried to serve everyone and wondered why nobody chose them. The boring businesses that quietly make millions. Let me tell you something that might change how you think about business entirely. The most profitable businesses are almost always the ones nobody posts about on Instagram. But first, let me tell you about one that did end up on Instagram, because it started in the most boring way possible. In 2012, 19-year-old kid in Birmingham was earning £5 an hour delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut. His name was Ben Francis. In between shifts, he was making gym clothes in his parents' garage in Bromsgrove using a sewing machine and a screen printer he had bought with £1,000 of his savings. His grandmother taught him how to sew. He had no investors, no business degree, no connections in the fashion industry. He was competing in the most saturated market on earth. Sportswear, against Nike, against Adidas, against Under Armour, companies with billions in marketing budgets. Everyone would have told him the market was saturated, and they would have been completely wrong. In 2013, he took GymShark to a fitness trade show in Birmingham called Body Power. One of his tracksuits went viral on Facebook, £30,000 in sales in 30 minutes. His website crashed from traffic. But the real breakthrough was simpler than that. Ben was a fan of fitness YouTubers, so he started sending free products to people with followings on YouTube and Instagram. This was before influencer marketing was even a term. While Nike was spending millions on TV ads, he was posting leggings to people with 50,000 followers. Some of those influencers wore GymShark in their videos. Sales went from around £450 a day to $45,000. He dropped out of university and quit Pizza Hut. GymShark is now valued at $1.45 billion. Ben Francis owns 70% of it. He is Britain's youngest self-made billionaire. A kid earning £5 an hour built a billion-pound company from a garage in a market everyone said was impossible to enter. But you do not need to build the next GymShark. Most successful businesses are far more boring than that. The commercial cleaning industry in the UK alone is worth over £10 billion. Bookkeeping services have a 35% profit margin. Property management, waste collection, IT support for small businesses. None of these are glamorous. Nobody makes reels about them. But they print money because they solve problems that never go away. Recurring revenue, that is the real secret. A business that charges once is a hustle. A business that charges monthly is an asset. Every cleaning contract, every bookkeeping client, every property management agreement is money that arrives again next month without you having to sell again. That is how boring businesses build wealth, not with one big win, with 50 small agreements that compound over time. Your checklist, what to do this week. So here is what I want you to do. Not next month, not when you feel ready. This week. Step 1. Write down 3 skills you already have, not skills you want to learn. Skills you have right now, things you can do today that other people would struggle with. Maybe you are good with numbers. Maybe you can design. Maybe you can write. Maybe you understand social media. Maybe you are great at explaining things. Maybe you can code. Whatever it is, write it down. Step 2. For each skill, write down who has a specific problem that skill solves. Not everyone. A specific type of person or business. The more specific, the better. If you can write, who needs writing done? Local businesses with terrible websites, startups that need landing page copy, coaches who want email newsletters but do not have time to write them. Step 3. Research what people actually charge for that service. Go on Fiverr, Upwork, LinkedIn. See what freelancers in that niche are charging. When you see someone charging £50 an hour for a skill you already have, something clicks. That could be me. Step 4. Find 5 potential clients online. LinkedIn, Instagram, Google Maps, local Facebook groups. Real people with real businesses who might need what you offer. Not random people. Specific businesses that match your niche. Step 5. Reach out to them. Not with a sales pitch. With a question. I noticed your website does not have a booking system. Is that something you have thought about? I saw your Instagram has not posted in 3 months. Would it help to have someone manage that for you? I looked at your Google reviews and noticed you have not responded to any of them. Would you like help with that? You are not selling. You are starting a conversation, and conversations lead to clients. Step 6. Do the first job at a discount or even free. That sounds counterintuitive, but that first job is not about the money. It is about proof. Get a testimonial. Get a before and after. That proof is worth more than any marketing budget because it is real. A real client with a real result you can show to every potential client after them. Step 7. Use that proof to get the next client at full price. Then the next, then the next. Every client makes the next one easier to get. Your portfolio grows. Your confidence grows. Your referrals grow. That is it. That is how every service business starts. Not with a business plan, not with a logo, not with a limited company registration, not with a £997 course, with one client who pays you for something you are already good at. Everything else comes after. And one more thing, do not fall into the trap of spending money before you have made any. A logo does not get you clients. A conversation does. A website does not prove you are legitimate. A testimonial does. Spend nothing until you are earning something. The part nobody talks about here is the honest truth about starting a business. It is not glamorous. The first 6 months are ugly. You will send messages that get ignored. You will pitch people who say no. You will undercharge because you do not believe your own value yet. You will doubt yourself at 2 in the morning, wondering if you are wasting your time. That is normal. And I mean that. It is literally normal. 20% of businesses fail in the first year, but 80% survive. The difference between those two groups is not talent or luck or connections. It is the willingness to keep going when it stops being exciting. A guy named Joe Seddon graduated from Oxford in 2018 with a first-class degree in PPE, first person in his family to go to university. grew up in a single-parent family in Morley, West Yorkshire, a town most people cannot find on a map. He turned down corporate job offers and went back to his childhood bedroom with the last £200 of his student maintenance loan. He could have spent it on a night out. Instead, he built a tech platform called Zero Gravity that matches students from low-income backgrounds with mentors at top universities. That £200 turned into a company that has now helped over 23,000 students get into top universities, over 1,000 of them into Oxford and Cambridge. He raised $6.5 million in investment, was named on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, and received a medal from the King for services to social mobility. £200, a childhood bedroom, a problem he refused to ignore. Let me give you my example. I have a business degree. The conventional path would have been to get a graduate job at $25,000 to $30,000 a year and climb slowly. Instead, I spent a year teaching myself to code, not through a boot camp, not through an expensive program, through Udemy courses and free resources. Some of those courses cost £10. It was not glamorous. There was no viral moment. Nobody was watching. Most days I felt like I was going nowhere, but I was building a skill that the market values. And 2 years later, I am a software engineer earning more than the graduate path would have given me in 5 years. The investment? Maybe £50 and a year of uncomfortable, unglamorous work. The return? A completely different career trajectory. But here is the part that matters. The skill did not just get me a job. It gave me leverage. With the same skill I learned from those £10 courses, I started mentoring other people who wanted to break into tech. I started building websites for small businesses and managing them monthly. I built bespoke apps for companies, things like a quoting tool for a trades business where they type a description of the job, add pictures, and the system generates an accurate quote because I had trained the AI on data from their previous jobs. One skill. Multiple income streams. The job pays the salary. The services build the business. And every project I take on makes the skill stronger, which makes the next project worth more. That is not a special story. That is what happens when you invest in a skill and give it enough time to compound. Every business you admire went through a phase where nobody cared, where the numbers were embarrassing, where the founder questioned everything. They survived that phase. That is why they exist. Your job is not to build a perfect business on day one. Your job is to survive long enough for the compound effect to kick in. One client becomes a testimonial. A testimonial becomes 2 clients. 2 clients become referrals. Referrals become a reputation. And a reputation becomes a business that sustains itself. It does not happen in a week, but it does happen. You do not need anyone's permission to start. You do not need investors. You do not need a co-founder. You do not need a mentor charging you £997 for information you could find for free. You need a skill, a niche, and the willingness to send the first message. The rest is just compound interest applied to effort.